The rest of Ultrakill Act 3 is a very anticipated update. Seriously, Ultrakill is pretty close to being completed. All that's left really is just a Prime Sanctum and 2 layers. But these layers, I personally believe, are going to be some of the most complicated and biggest levels that we've ever gotten. But seriously, we don't really know much about them. I mean, there might have been a couple of sneak peeks I haven't seen yet, but I do have theories on what I think is going to happen. And they're just in my head. And I've been really wanting to get them out, make a video for a long time. But now, here it is. So enjoy. In the description of the Swordsmachine, it talks about how it's become pretty popular with scrapheads, and how a lot of copycats have popped up and kind of tried to steal its whole flow. And I think would fit if we see the original Swordsmachine in Fraud, or some of like the metalheads that follow him. And I think it'd be cool to either get a Swordsmachine arm, or to find the original Swordsmachine here and have a cool boss fight where we fight that boss. And of course, I think he would have to be a lot stronger and have probably way harder to parry than the copycat Swordsmachines we see throughout the game. I could be entirely wrong, because it might be that the whole original Swordsmachine could be the one we fight in the prelude, but I highly doubt that, considering it would be kind of way cooler to get like an Elder Swordsmachine boss fight, rather than having the boss be just something we fight 10 minutes into the game. I've seen a lot of people guessing about who the next Prime Soul is going to be. I've seen people in comment sections, and I've tried to tell them, but it was 4 a.m. and I was sleep deprived, and I misspelled every word to the point where my message was fucking unintelligible. But I've seen, the guesses that we're making were Jesus Prime, which is not gonna happen. Kaikita confirmed it. King Midas, stuff like that. But I think the most likely candidate would be Daedalus. If you don't know who Daedalus is, I'll give you a brief biography of him. Well, not really brief, since this is a long one, so I would buckle up. So, in Greek mythology, Poseidon gives Minos, the one we fight in game, a white bull to use as a sacrifice. But Minos really likes this fucking bull. So, he doesn't want to sacrifice it. And instead, he gets another bull and sacrifices that one instead. So, for revenge, Poseidon, he goes up to Aphrodite and he pretty much asks her to make Minos' wife fuck the bull. Greek mythology is a little bit weird. Poseidon, then after they kind of, Minos' wife gives birth to the Minotaur, which we fight in game. So then Minos goes to Daedalus and just goes full deadbeat dad and asks him to build the labyrinth to trap the Minotaur inside. So he does that and it's all good. So fast forward, Minos ends up just imprisoning Daedalus inside of his own labyrinth. It kind of leaves him in there with his kid, Icarus. So then Daedalus makes wings out of wax, Icarus flies too close to the sun, falls to his death. So Daedalus really ends up hating Minos here, and he ends up tricking him and murdering him by pouring boiling water all over his skin after burying his son and, grieving all over that. But this is kind of a tangent for an Ultrakill video. But if you don't know who Daedalus is, I think my theory becomes a lot less, likable. But I think it would be really cool if we have to fight 2 bosses. One, it is Daedalus. He's kind of the Sisyphus or the Minos that you fight on the ground. That's he should be bigger than you. You're 3 feet tall. But then you have his kid, Icarus, in hell with you, flying and circling around and swooping down on you, that you have to punch up and parry back. So instead of having instead of having to keep track of one target, you have to keep track of 2 that are both the speed of Sisyphus. I think that would be a really cool final challenge for Ultrakill, and that would give us a really good ending. But if Hikita, if you're watching this, I don't know, don't pull a fucking Oda and change it if I'm right, because that'd be really funny if I am correct. Alright, the rest of the theories are going to revolve around V2, the guy that everyone makes theories about. Okay, so this one's kind of a bonus one. It's not going to be super serious, and we'll get into an actual serious like debunk after this one. I personally think that as a secret level, I think it'd be very, very, very funny if you fight a state on the floor. And like whole boss title comes up, it's V2, and it's just a stain on the floor that you shoot once with any damage and it kills it instantly. I think that'd be really fun for all the people that are living on copium that he's going to come back. Give him one last appearance. Just, it'd be funny. Okay, here's a debunk, because I don't really have any more theories, and I can't really make like a 5-minute long video. So recently I saw a pretty genuine theory on how V2 could come back. I'm going to flash the image up on the screen. There you go. Look at that. Pause to read it. Pretty much gist of it is V2 comes back as like a blood puppet for one last rematch with V1. I think this theory has a few major flaws. Number one, it does kind of say that Hell really does enjoy fighting V1, which it probably does. But I don't see why it would use V2 instead of all of the other creatures it has. It really hasn't done any better than any other boss. And number two, realistically, I don't see how V2 could become a puppet. The way I see the puppets working is if it can get to your blood, it can reanimate you as a puppet. But really think about this here. V2 doesn't really have any blood. I mean, that pile of blood isn't V2's blood. It's just whatever blood it's just blood from whatever it killed last. So I don't really see how it would become one. And even one more hole. Why would Hakita do that? Hakita's talked about this before. It's really hard to make a boss fight, like fight the same boss 3 times, and have them all be interesting and difficult. Because seriously, after like the second, I don't see where else you would go from here. I mean, everything, it just feels a little bit like copium. Alright people, thanks for watching again. I don't have a schedule for when my videos come out. I say that in all of my videos. It is pretty obvious, but they come out when they come out, and that's not because I'm working on them. I probably am playing a different game other than Ultrakill. But yeah. I will be making a video on the, hopefully when the rest of Act 3 comes out. Hopefully soon, fingers crossed. But I doubt it. Probably gonna be like at least 8 months, and that's being very, very generous on when it will come out. Don't spend a lot of time for my videos. I know, like I know they're not very good, but my most viewed video is 3,000 views, and that's not a good video. So I'm not exactly well known. Anyways, adios fellas. I'll make the next video in hopefully 1 to 2 business months. Dude, the song's over. You can click off now. Please, get the fuck off this video. Goddamn.